Hi everyone, welcome to the second Let's Play for the FreeHolder Alpha. This is going to be featuring our Alpha 2 with a couple of new features to make everything a bit easier. But it's also going to be a further tutorial into some of the other more advanced features of the game. You may have noticed while you were doing all of your surviving and gathering firewood from last time that there were plenty of other resources lying around, and there didn't really seem to be anything to do with them. So in this somewhat involved Let's Play, I'm going to try to cover as many of the different aspects of the villa as I can, because that's what you do to make your goods last and turn them into things you can use and so forth. And I'm also going to try to cover the market, because that's basically how you get the money you need to pay the bribe and do all kinds of other fun stuff. So for this game, I'm going to take an Artisan, because they are construction types, and I do plan to be crafting a lot. I'm going to take excavation in the off chance that I can actually get a quarry together, because that's a great way to make some money. Alright, let's get started. So the first thing that you might have noticed is that little icon fly across the bottom of the screen. I got rid of the events tab for now. Getting the text to format was an issue, and getting alerts associated with it, it seems like I was going to use icons for the alerts anyway. Why not just have the alerts be the events themselves? So this is just a thing at the start of the year. At the start of every year, that is on March, you'll get a little hint as to the type of weather to expect. In this case, it's going to be dry, which means there's probably more likely to be drought, not so much rain. Sometimes you'll get a wet year, and then occasionally you would get a drought year, which is very, very dry, or a monsoon year, which has a lot of storms and blizzards and the like. Somewhat randomized. So let me just show you. I also added this game menu here with some usual type choices on it. I'm going to turn the music off for now, because if you're playing the alpha, I'm sure you're tired of it already, and besides, you'll be able to hear me better. This sound on and off actually toggles all sound. In order to get the sound to toggle out differently from the music will actually require work by me, and I just wanted to get this thing going as fast as possible. And then restart will actually start the whole thing over really quickly, so if you don't like your game or you don't like what you started with or something, you can just quickly restart, which is really useful for testing. Okay, so let's resume, and basically, I want to have a focus right now on just gathering resources and on the villa, and hopefully I'll be able to grab enough food that I have enough time to show you everything I want to show you. Alright, so first I'm just going to send Lydia to grab, hopefully, some meat from hunting. It's a bit, but it's not really enough. I'll have her go again. Not so good. Alright, I'm going to claim this lake and have Gaia's fish here for a little extra food. Man, I'm not having the food luck. Ugh. Alright. Now I actually have enough fish to feed myself, and I don't even have enough to like gather and cook like I wanted to, so this was a tough round. We'll deal. I'll just gather some firewood, and we'll go through to April and hopefully happier times. That's roguelikes for you. Okay, so I'm going to once again try to get my hands on some food without extreme trouble. There we go. Plus I can cook some of that up and show you about cooking. Okay, well, I have that food, and I think because this whole thing is going to focus on the villa, at least at first, let's go take a look at what the villa has to offer. I only touched on it briefly in the last Let's Play when I talked about cooking soup, and we may do a little bit of that, and I think I'd also like to show you about baking bread, because it's a key way to turn something that you can't eat, wheat, into something you can, bread, and it also lets you sort of concentrate solely on planting wheat, and then you can turn some of it into food for yourself. It takes time, but it's a great sort of backup plan, especially if your hunting doesn't work out that month or something. So let's go to the Kulina, and I'll just sort of review about the soup. Yeah, so at the start of the game, all you can make is soup in your really like rundown kitchen. Later on, you can upgrade and get these fancier recipes, and you can add like a bakery to your kitchen to be able to do breads and pies, and you can get a pickling cupboard to be able to pickle stuff. Pickling is still not in soon, very soon. But let's take a look at the soup here. So this is the recipe for soup, and you have to include everything that's needed. If it's in these sorts of brackets, it's necessary. This fancy bracket means it's an optional ingredient. So let's grab some fish and firewood. So now we have everything we need. You'll notice that soup adds 1 nutrition to the food that's cooked, and it says that it's fresh. 1. That 1 just means that it'll keep for 1 turn before I have to eat it. And the whole point of soup is it lets you sort of stretch out or the whole point of cooking generally is to stretch out your food supply. I don't have any salt right now. Hopefully I'll get some later. But salt basically, it adds 2 more nutrition, and it will keep for 1 extra round. So you can cook soup and then keep it for 2 months. It's very handy if you have like a great hunt 1 year or 1 month, and you want to keep part of it for 1 month from now. You can cook 1 soup, and 1 part of it for 2 months from now. You add some salt to it. It's very flexible, and you get salt from ash plains, which you have to survey and find. So I'm going to cook this fish soup, and that'll mean I have a little bit of food to start the next turn. And I'll get back to this stuff. So it said it's going to be a dry year, which means there's probably not going to be much rain. But nevertheless, I think it might be useful. Well, first let's get some wheat going. Can't drag my feet too much on that. And I am feeling lazy about hunting, so let's get some radishes going. Get some food quick. I don't feel like I'm having very good hunting luck. And I think I'll have Caius grab some herbs, just in case things go sideways. Some ginseng. Alright. So you can see here this fish soup, it says fresh, the text is green. That means I don't have to eat it this turn. If it said molding and it was red, it would mean that if I didn't eat it, I would lose it anyway. But I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to eat my 3 fish, and I have enough nutrition to bump up Sarissa, which I will. Okay, so first I'm going to take care of this watering, and then we can get on to the more interesting stuff. And I don't know, I've been relying on that lake for fish pretty hard, but I might be lucky. Or this might be a good opportunity to put together a spear for fishing, just so I can show you how the whole crafting thing works. So for that I'm going to need a little bit of timber. Okay, so when you go into your villa, this choice here is the Fabrica. It's like a workshop, a smithy. It's where you go to craft items. And there's a lot of choices. Everything in here is functional for the most part. A few of them aren't of any use because you can craft them, but the systems that they're for aren't in yet. So let's just take a look at some of the tools that you can craft. There's like a timber axe that helps you chop wood and get reed faster when you go do it. Fishing rod is really good for fishing, but it only works for fishing, whereas this barbed spear helps you with fishing and hunting a little bit. It's also really easy to make. You can see it only costs 1 pole and 1 stone, and I started with 10 stone because I took an artisan, so that's handy. Like this mining pick you could make, but since there's no way to gather, there aren't mines for gathering copper ore yet, it wouldn't do you any good. If you can get together some sinew, the hunting bow is the best way to increase your hunting ability. And in the full game, you could also use it as a short bow, which is handy. And then this watering rig is very useful. It lets you basically take 1 free watering action every turn. And if you play this game for a while, you know that watering the crops is the thing that tends to suck away your time. And this is a great way to save a little bit of time in that regard. But you'll notice for all of these things, usually it requires some kind of specific raw material, like in this case stone, and then a component. In this case it's a handle, in this case it's a pole, and then also there's a hilt, but that's really only for weapons and metal items later. So let's craft a component. I want to make a barbed spear, and I'm going to need a pole, so let's go to components, and there's carve handles and turn poles. And I got 2 poles out of that. It just costs 1 timber to do that. And now that I have poles, I have some components, and I can craft items if I have the rest of what I need. So I do have what I need for a barbed spear. Let's put it together. Alright, now if I want anybody to equip it, I just right-click on their token, and it brings up the sort of equipment screen. The other characters are sort of in the back here, and you can swap through them quickly without having to change. And everything is displayed here. This whole thing is really clunky. I'm going to have this all be, like this whole effects thing. The right side I'll show you, because I'm going to give the spear to Caius. You click on his hand, and then you click on it. He's got it, see? And it says fishing up and hunting up. It tracks all of the effects from equipment that they're under. It's nice to have, but I mean really it's pretty overwhelming when you have like a bunch of equipment on. So ideally what I want to do later is just have it all be context sensitive. Like whenever you're taking an action that the barbed spear helps, a little sparkly barbed spear will pop up and let you know that it's helping you. And that way you don't have to remember, and you can just, it's context based. That's a much better system. But for now, this effects thing might be of use to you. So now that he has the barbed spear, he might be a little bit better at this whole fishing thing. If I could, put him on the right tile. 1 fish is not enough. Okay, well that didn't work. I'm going to have Sarissa overwork and try some hunting. Okay, well, Under normal circumstances, if you didn't know about the market, you would be screwed. But luckily, Fate itself has decided that I will show this mechanic to you right now. I have one action left, which means I can do some shipping. Before I leave, though, I just want to show you. You may have noticed on your starting meadow here that you own, there's a little pasture icon. If you click on it, you can see there's 6 sort of icons, and these represent total pasture areas that you could have in that tile if you fenced them in, which takes timber and time. So right now I only have one pasture fenced in, and it's already occupied by Barnabas the mule. You always start with a mule because that's your way to ship things to and from the market, and I'll explain how that works. But basically the mule just hangs out in the pasture. He can just eat grass. You don't have to worry about him, and you can use him to ship once per month, and then he becomes tired. So let's go check it out. Click on To Map. Okay, so this is basically the overview of 3 towns and sort of 3 locations of note directly surrounding your villa on a sort of larger map. The scale of it is a little bit cramped, partly due to design decisions, but when I get the villa sort of zoomed out, you'll get a better sense of the scale. So basically, this screen is where most of the sort of political, more sort of long-term goals and objectives of the game will be accomplished, and a lot of this stuff isn't functional yet. Like the Taverna will be a place where you can hire mercenaries or workers. You can gather information. Like visitors will come by and they'll offer to do things like sell you cheese for half price or buy all of your wood off you or give you a tip. Very very like roguelike sort of thing. People are always coming in and out. And you can also like get in good with the tavern keeper and he'll sell you information. And also rumor has it that the Thieves Guild operates out of the Taverna, and if you have enough reputation with them, you might be able to hire like thieves and assassins out of there. Although this is all, of course, theoretical because the Taverna has not yet been coded in, and I don't really have all the mechanics for guest workers and stuff, but it's going to be legit. It's a great way to turn gold into more useful stuff. And then the black market is basically an illegal version of the market, and you can fulfill really lucrative like smuggling quests there and stuff, and it's risky to use, and the agent character class that focuses on espionage is going to have a much easier time making use of the black market than everyone else. Sometimes the Romans will shut it down, and this is completely non-functional right now as well. And then, so the market is really the economic center of the game. It's a centralized location, and every town that you've uncovered or is participating, and for the purposes of the alpha, it's just these 3 starting towns, participate by sending their goods seasonally to the market. So every season, the town will send a chunk of goods based on the type that it is to the market for you to buy. So Harrenhal here is like a forestry city. It mostly focuses on sending like wood and hides and whatnot. This is a fishing village. Probably they'll send some fish. And then here's I guess it's a mining town. So let's take a look at the market and see what's available. You'll notice that you can view the market. That's free. But to actually ship goods, it's a husbandry action because you got to load up your mules and take them in and stuff. So let's see what's going on. This is a fairly involved screen. It's probably worth talking about it for a little while. But let me just sort of finish up what I was thinking about that other thought about the town sending stuff. So you can see here, yes, the fishing village sends fish seasonally to the towns. I mean to the market. The mining town is sending stone and clay, and the woodcraft town, the forestry, sending timber, hides, and willow. And so every season they'll send a chunk, or it might be yearly right now, but ultimately it's going to be seasonally. And they're up for you to buy. And then this, so that's obviously the right side, is everything that's in the market storehouse and is up for trade. On the left side here is all the goods that you have that you could actually sell. It's important to make a distinction here. You'll see some of these goods have an H in the upper left corner and some do not. The H stands for heavy. Heavy goods are basically bulk goods that really require quite a bit of oomph to ship around. It's not easy to grab. Like you can see this pole here doesn't have that. And that's because you have like one pole. You can just drag it around with you. It doesn't really count as something noteworthy when you're talking about shipping mercantile goods en masse somewhere. So heavy goods require you to actually spend shipping. Each one of your mules can generate 5 shipping. It can take 5 heavy goods to the market and come back with 5 heavy goods in a single run. But you can ship as many of these single goods, as I call them, but they're just not heavy, as you want. And it doesn't cost you any sort of shipping or anything because you just sort of throw them on as an afterthought. But you do actually have to send a mule to ship single goods at all. You do have to make a shipping run. So even if you didn't send any heavy goods, you would still need the mule to carry whatever single goods you wanted to. Um, so before I talk about the economics of buying and selling, I just want to talk about these three tabs on the left side here. Um, these are market orders. The towns, besides sending goods to the market for you to buy, also yearly will generate a special request and send it to the market. The special request is a request for somebody to usually provide goods, although in this case there's a Hall's request, which is fortunate because I can explain that to you. So you can see here, Heron Hall is requesting 9 reed, Septim is requesting 15 timber, and Astoria wants somebody to haul away 10 scree. So these are a good way to focus your economic engine and get extra money and get in good with the towns that are going to help you later. Now, the towns are not really functional in any way except the economy. They send, they interact with the market, but they don't track your reputation. They don't give you any benefits for reputation. But that's coming up pretty soon. But right now, they still are really worth completing for a couple of reasons. The non-economic reason, or that's to say that the one that's not related to how goods are sold or bought, is that when you complete a market order before the end of the year, you completely fill it out, like I actually give them all 15 timber or 9 reed, or I ship away 10 scree, I will get the bonus listed under here. I will get 1 reputation with the town. As I said, that's not really important right now. And I will get 40 cents, which is a decent chunk of money. And then every year, if the ones that aren't fulfilled will be deleted, and then they're all reset, and a new set is generated. In the final game, basically, as towns like you more, they may send you special requests, and the quality of things that they're asking for will get better. So it becomes harder and harder to gain reputation with the town as they like you. You have to do more impressive things, but the rewards will also be correspondingly great. So basically, you can see here at the bottom, I have 5 outgoing shipping left and 5 return shipping, and that means I can, do up to 5 heavy goods, and I can bring back. And you can see the total change in funds from this transaction is tracked up here. So, like if I sold 1 fish and 2 clay and a stone, I'd get 26. But if I bought a 28 hide to bring back with me, I actually am going to lose 2 cents on this whole deal. And so it all happens simultaneously. And you have to make 1 market run per turn. Although I guess theoretically, if you had multiple animals, you could do multiple runs. But it's not really important right now. And so now I'm going to talk about the actual economics of selling. Back in the day when I was working with the FreeHolder markets and the prototype, I had a lot of really complicated ideas about how to emulate like supply and demand using saturation and a lot of very complicated numbers. I probably didn't even really have the math chops to make it happen, but this is the fun of game design. You come up with ideas and you see if they actually work. And it worked okay, but it was never totally refined, and it didn't have the simplicity that it needed for people to like understand it and use it as a game mechanic. I mean, in a certain sense, if it's natural enough, people will adapt to it. But I preferred something a little more straightforward. And it was a board game, I can't remember which one, gave me an inspiration on how to deal with this. So basically, you'll notice that I can only sell up to 4 goods of a particular kind per turn. And the reason for this is basically built into the game is a demand mechanic, right? You'll notice here, this clay costs 6 cents, or that is to say, if I sell it, I'll get 6 cents. So I put it into the order there, right? I get 6 cents. But you'll notice, the next one, it says demand minus. This is only worth 4. And then the next one is demand minus minus, worth only 3. And then the last one is only worth 2. And so basically what that means is that the market automatically saturates when you sell goods, and you get more for selling less goods, which is to say you get more for individual goods when you sell them singly or in small groups or small amounts. And so what that means is that you're better off letting goods trickle out slowly one at a time than selling large chunks of them. Of course, if you have huge amounts or you need to make money quickly, that's always a consideration. But everything suffers from price decay. And so when you come here, you're going to want to say, all right, what can I let trickle out just a little bit at a time? Now, what's interesting about these market orders is that they kind of break the rules a little bit. When you're sending directly to market orders, and I can do that as an example here, like I have 5 timber and this housing crunch is looking for timber, right? So if you click directly on the market order, it'll send a timber to fulfill that order instead of in the normal sense. It still costs you outgoing shipping because you got to bring it, to the market for them to have. But you'll notice that I got paid the same amount every time for every timber that I sent towards that. They're willing to pay you actually double the ordinary market price for every timber up to 15. And so even if you don't complete the quest, it's a much, much faster way to make money when you are fulfilling these specific orders. I guess, I don't know if I kind of want to keep the timber though. You can right click on the order to pull it off. So I think I'm going to leave that one alone for now, but I wanted to show you this whole scree. Astoria's mines have generated a lot of rubble while being expanded. They'll pay by the cargo point for shipping to haul it out of town. A hull scree is a great way to make money if you're not bringing anything back, because basically you can give up one return shipping and they'll pay you 6 cents to take some rubble away from their town. They don't care what you do with it, just get it out of here. And so if you have spare shipping, you can haul some scree away, and you can see this is actually a very small quest. It only takes 10 of it, and it'll only get 40 cents, but that should be easy enough to complete by the end of the year. Alright, so anyway, I actually did come here to get some more food, and lucky me, there was a fishing village, so I'm going to grab, I guess, 2 fish. I could go nuts and do 3, but I won't. And then I'm also going to haul back 3 scree to offset the cost of that somewhat. And I want to keep all of these crafting things. I'm going to sell maybe 2 clay and a ginseng. And yeah, I'll be up 12 after that. And I'll get more timber. I'll just put it all into or put 3 in for the housing crunch now. There you go, that's not too bad. Oh, right, and of course, I did all of this, we were forgetting that I wasn't actually shipping anything. Cancel! Ship goods. Alright. Ah, yes. You can see here that this is actually a glitch because I canceled it, but it didn't remove the progress that I'd made. Well, bully for me. And I got all of my stuff back besides. Although I did not get the money, luckily. Yeah, so I gotta deal with that, obviously. But for people that want an exploit, there's a good one. So anyway, you'll notice though when you do the actual shipping, you pay that you're about to spend a action point. Barnabas comes up here and it tells you how much shipping he's worth. Now, if you had multiple mules, you could like click and toggle them on and off. But right now you just have Barnabas. So you can see here now it's actually tracking the shipping that I have. So I'm going to get my 2 fish, haul 3 scree. I'm going to let 2 clay go and a stone. I'm going to put 2 timber in there. Alright, and now I'm golden. Okay, so with that extra fish and that rather long detour, I got the food that I needed to survive. So let's go. Alright, yeah, so with that molding fish soup, I can feed everybody up real good. And I'm going to give Sarissa a ginseng just in case. I'm sure she'll be fine. Alright, well the radishes are ready. And that probably means that, well, I shouldn't water them if I'm going to harvest them. I'm going to wait on that. The radishes are ready, and that means that if I don't hunt or fish anything good, I can just grab them. Otherwise I can let them overgrow for a turn to get extra. Alright, I gave Lydia the spear, right? No, it was Gaius. Alright. I'm going to have him hunt in this mountain, I think. I'll have Sarissa claim. See if he has any luck. Ah, yes, good, and a hide too. There's a mountain goat. Well, that's good news, because now I can let the radishes overgrow. Okay, so I'm trying to think of what other useful things I could craft. Let me have Caius gather some reed. Okay, yeah, that's just right. So if you go into the Fabrica, you'll notice there's sort of the clothing items in the bottom 2 choices here. There's clothing and there's cloaks. In FreeHolder, you actually can sort of wear 2 torso items, or 2 like sort of pieces of main clothing. Everybody can wear clothing, which is their underwear sort of. They have effects like the heavy furs let you resist frost, or this cooling wear helps you with hot seasons. And you can always wear it under whatever. It could be armor, or, because there isn't armor yet, it could be a cloak. And cloaks are worn over clothing, and they have additional effects. Like the one I want to make now is this reed overcoat. If I have 3 reed, I can create a coat that basically helps me deal with the negatives to my rolls and to disease chance from these kinds of weather. As you click, you craft it, and just like before, if I want to equip it, you right-click, Go to the cloaks, click on read overcoat. Yeah, she's golden. Okay, and then I have an extra action for Lydia, and maybe I'll just have her gather some clay. Alrighty. You'll see here, a terrible pestilence known as Wandercough has arrived in the land. So basically now everybody has an additional chance to get sick until this epidemic abates. It's not too bad that Wandercough is like an early game problem. There are some really nasty ones later. Alright, I guess I'll have Sarissa. No, I want her to craft stuff. But there isn't really much to do right now. I'm going to have her grab these radishes. Oh, precious food. I guess I'll have Caius water this. And again, in keeping with my focus on not having to hunt for food, I'm going to put some beans down too. Alright, well I think in the interest of speeding my whole wood chopping, I'm going to work on making a timber axe. I'm going to have Gaius craft handles. Just take timber, you can turn them. I got 3 out of them. And then using those handles and the stone that I have, I'm going to create a timber axe. And this will let me chop wood and read good. And particularly given that wood decays over time, and that like every time you take wood from the forest, it makes it harder to take wood until it regenerates over time. Being able to take more wood every time you go is a real maximizer of efficiency. I'm going to have to lose a lot of radishes. Look at this, Wandercough. Yep. So Sarissa got sick. The reason I called it Wandercough is because it also is, when Sarissa is sick, it makes it a little bit easier for everybody else to get sick. It's more contagious than the average disease. Give her a ginseng. And I'm going to lose 14 radishes to perishing. Ah! Oh no, and it's drought. Well, that dry year has come to pass. I'm going to have to water all these things a lot. But Sarissa isn't too useful since she's sick. So why don't you just do this? I'm going to give Lydia that axe and have her gather some timber. I'm kind of thinking about building a stone pit. Yeah, nice. Alright, she can do that with her final action. Okay, so you may recall, now once you spend 10 timber and dig a stone pit, you can now extract stone from that space until the reserves run out. Normally you don't know, but because I have, she has excavation, I can see that there's actually 40 stone in this space. And now that I've dug a stone pit, I could also see how much marble would be in here if there was any, which there isn't. So there's no point in building a quarry here. We'll have to look elsewhere for our marble. I still got to water these beans twice. Alright, I think I'm going to go back to the market with my last action here. I need to chop more timber for that mission. They have a lot of hides here. That's nice. I'll probably buy a hide because I want to show you how to make heavy furs. Maybe I can even buy a bunch. It costs, but I can make up for it. Harless scree. Let a stone and 2 clay go. And probably a couple of radishes. They ain't worth much. But I'm going to lose them anyway to perishing. Okay. Looks like it's about all. Oh well, no. See, now the question is, I could do some overworking now. I have enough food that I probably should take advantage of that. But on the other hand, the Wandercough means that overworking might put them over the edge for disease. But I'd really like to survey some more territories, so I'm going to have Lydia overwork and do just that. How about this one? Another mountain. That'll be good if I want to stock up on clay, and it gives me another place to hunt also. And I'll have Gaius do the same thing here. A marsh, alternate source of reed and fish. Not useless. Alright, looks like Sarissa got back on her feet, although technically Wandercough is still in the air. Alright, only a couple of radishes left, but I think they did their job. Looks like the drought broke too. I'm gonna have Caius harvest the wheat. 19. All right, we're golden for wheat, and we still have enough money on the bribe. I'm gonna have Lydia water these, and then go to the market. Although I think before I do that, I'm gonna have you. Now there's enough stone. Okay, yeah, I should probably show you another thing that you can craft. Once you get the whole stone thing going, you get a couple of stone, you can really speed up your whole stone taking process by reinvesting a little bit of it into a rock hammer. You can see here, if I have a handle and 3 stone, I can make this thing, and I'll give it to Sarissa. And now whenever she goes to construct, when she goes to gather stone, she'll get a little bit more. You can see I got like 7. Jesus. Well, I made my points. 7 stone? God, like I didn't even know you could do that. That's hilarious. Well, point made, right? I just wanted to get some stone so that she could ship it, because it's worth a fair chunk. And maybe some more stone. Why not? 5 stone. Man, yeah. So let it be known. Rock hammer. We can finish up that scree quest too. I'm going to grab me some fish, and then the other 3 for the scree. Guess I'm also going to let that timber go. I'll sell that extra hide. Well, no, I bought it. That would be kind of dumb, right? And then I also have a couple extra stone and a clay. Not too shabby. Okay. Not going to overwork them because it would knock their health down a bit low. You know, I just realized I need to get some firewood. It's getting close to winter. Man, this is a long-ass epidemic. Okay, I guess I'll have Lydia overwork. She's going to be pretty healthy. Why don't you go there? Why don't you claim this for me? No, he's still got the barbed spear, so he's going to take a shot at fishing. Yeah, not bad. I'm actually thinking maybe I could get some more fish and do a little bit of cooking. Lydia's got the time for that. I'll have her gather a bit of firewood. And I'll have Lydia overwork. And then cook up some extra food. Sweet. Okay. Now I was going to show you those heavy furs. If you go to the Fabrica and go to clothing, for 2 hides you can craft heavy furs. They're very, very handy for a couple of reasons. First of all, they reduce the heat need for your characters by 1 if you're wearing it during the winter, so that's a savings on firewood. And also, they protect you a bit from frostbite. In the case that you don't have enough wood and you do get frostbite, it mitigates the effects. You won't lose an action, and it kind of halves the disease minus from it. So it's just like the basic all-purpose cold weather gear. And I guess I'll make 2 of them because we're going to have to pay heat anyway. I'll give the other one to Caius. Okay, we're looking good. Oh no, we actually have November left. We actually have 1 extra turn. It seems that the wander cough epidemic has finally begun to lift. Praise the gods. It's good news. And I can overfeed everybody. We're coming into winter strong. Alright, I'm going to have Sarissa grab these beans. They seem to be unable to, like, drag them on. I don't know. Harvest. And, I did make a timber axe. Does Lydia have it? Yeah. I'm going to have her grab a little bit more timber. Yeah, because I kind of wanted to fulfill that quest, now that I think about it. That'll do the trick. I don't really have enough wheat for that. I was going to show you the bakery, but maybe I'll have to wait for this next coming year. let's see. What should I do? I'll plant some parsnips because they like silts and frost doesn't hurt them. And actually, I think I'm going to have him overwork and gather a few herbs. I felt like I wanted Stressa to build something, but oh no, I wanted to do that market quest. I'm going to have Lydia overwork. Let's see. Send 5 wood to that affair. Take some fish. Works for me. Okie dokie. Kind of just wanted to get more timber because I have some building ideas in mind, and really, I probably should just gather some more firewood. But I can chop. This is something that I should mention anyway. Okay, so I've talked about the Fabrica, where you craft stuff, you get that. The Culina, where you create soup. I'll show you the bakery if I can. And the abandoned shed. I mean the Factorium, which in this case is an abandoned shed. The Factorium is basically a place where you can craft what I call studios, but they're buildings that let you turn one good into another good. There's a couple of them here, and the text is messed up, but I'll explain them to you quickly. The spinnery here lets you turn wool into cloth. This lets you turn leather into hides into leather. The butcher basically increases your chances of getting skins and sinew when you hunt, and also gives you a slight chance of getting slightly better quality meat when you hunt. And also later, when I add slaughtering for your farm animals, you need a butcher to do that. Smoking hut, this lets you turn fish into smoked fish if you spend firewood with it. The pottery lets you turn clay into amphora if you spend firewood with it. And the smelter lets you turn copper ore into copper if you spend firewood with it, or you might even need charcoal. I think I'm going to save that for iron, and I think that would be accurate anyway. There's no point in building the smelter, but you could build it if you wanted to. I was kind of thinking about getting the smoking hut together, and I need timber and a bunch of reed for that. So, let's see. I really did want to get more firewood. Oh, but this was the thing I even came here for. One thing that you can do in the abandoned shed without building anything, I keep calling it the abandoned shed, which is not what I want, but I might as well. In your abandoned shed, it's empty. It's covered from the rain. You can chop firewood here. You can turn wood timbers into firewood. It takes a little time. And just like all actions, and this is a really important point for gameplay, and I haven't really explained it, but in the villa, you're in a controlled environment, and nothing really is hard about working there, and that means that it doesn't really matter what type of action you have. Like, I have a construction action left normally on the map. I could only use it to, get stone or something. But when I'm here, I can use that action for a lot of different things because it's all like, skills aren't so important when you're working under carefully controlled conditions. In D&D, this would be considered like taking 20, and that's kind of like what I'm saying here. I mean, there are roles involved, but it's a way to really increase flexibility and let you use up those extra typed actions. Like in the Culina, you could cook anything, regardless of what action type you use. For purposes of experience, it does count as a husbandry type action, but you can do it with anything, and that means that, like, it's a good way to eat that up. Same thing goes with any of these actions in the Factorium. Whether you're smoking fish or firing clay into amphora or whatever, it doesn't matter what type of action you have, you can still do it. And for chopping firewood, which could probably be thought of as a survival type action, it doesn't matter. As long as you're indoors, you can use your action for anything. Now, the only exception to this is crafting stuff and building stuff. Crafting is definitely a construction action, which is why artisans rule at it, and building stuff is construction too. Even though you do those things on the villa, you do need construction types for that. Everything else is sort of like a wild type, and that's really important to keep in mind. Okay, next turn. I have this soup that's going bad, plus these fish. I have some ginseng for Lydia. Now you can see here, right? The whole firewood situation has come up. It's snowing, and this available heating thing is now on. I mentioned this before, but I'll just briefly go into it again. Because 2 of my people are wearing heavy furs, I need only 4 heat instead of 6, and that means I only need to burn 4 firewood. And it automatically pulls firewood when you have it. But if you wanted to, you could substitute charcoal or blood moss. Although, under most circumstances, that would be no reason whatsoever to do that. Okay, so here we are in the thick of winter. I got a little more timber I got to ship for that, and I want to take care of that now. Sweet. I'm also gonna. No, I want to keep these because I finally have enough for a bakery, and I want to show that to you if I have time. Anything else worth selling? Probably buy some fish. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. You can see I got paid for that timber quest. Hooray! I have just enough wheat to show you, so I might as well just do it now, even though it won't be of much use in a moment. If you go to the Kulina here, you'll notice that there's a few other things besides going to open the cookbook. You can add a bakery, and right now this only lets you bake bread. I think with the bakery and the upgraded cookhouse, you'll be able to make pies also, and then like whey bread later. There's a couple of things that I haven't implemented yet. This pickling cupboard doesn't work. You could build it, but it wouldn't do anything. Would let you use amphora and salt to preserve, basically vegetables, fish also, not meat. But you can see I have 10 stone and 10 clay, and it takes 2 actions, construction actions, to add the bakery to the Kulina, so I'm going to do that. And just for your reference, you can see now it says rustic canteen and bakery, so you know it's there. And now I'll show you the implications of this wonderful bakery. I'm going to go back to the cookbook. You can see now, besides soup, bread is available. And what you should know about bread is it's pretty much the opposite of what cooking normally is for. Normally with cooking, you take a perishable good and you make it make it less perishable, you make it last. But wheat is already totally imperishable and also inedible. So with the bakery, instead you turn wheat into nutrition, but it goes bad. The bread goes bad right away. You have to only bake what you're going to eat that turn or sell. Otherwise, there's no point. And so it's a very controlled way to get the food that you need. But it does mean that you are only ever going to be baking for, you eating that turn. So if you click on bread here, you can see that you need 2 wheat, and if you click, it just fulfills it if you have the wheat and firewood. And you just click here. All right, so I've got myself 2 bread. Oven-baked bread is delicious fresh, but becomes moldy or inedibly stale at speed. Bake only what you can eat or sell immediately. Look at that. I already put in what I just said. My whole mentality is in this game. So yeah, it added 8 nutrition, and there wasn't a huge reason to do that. Well, anyway, but my point is that you can see I'm actually that cost me 2 wheat, and I'm only 1 over the quota now. So the bakery is really handy, but eating into your game-winning goal is a consideration that you have to weigh against it. I think my folk should be getting pretty close to leveling up right now. I'm going to do a little more surveying. Oh, good. Oh, dude, perfect. You can see here in this forest, it's sparkly, and that means that there's a tile bonus. And you can see here it says recent fire. The recent fire is very cool. And I'm going to go claim this so I can show you just how cool it is. Yes, so basically the recent fire means that I just got a bunch of firewood and some charcoal. Theoretically, it was supposed to give me an announcement about that, but I just realized I only have announcements for the survey grabs and not the claims yet. I'll get on that. But you'll see here also I found some charcoal. Normally you have to make charcoal or buy it. I mean, there's no way for you to manually make charcoal, although that would be theoretically trivial. I mean, people of the time knew how to do it. You just sort of build up a pyre, and you put a lot of wood on it, let it sort of burn without oxygen by keeping it really, really low. But the point is, at this point in the game, charcoal is mostly just good for selling or for heating if for some reason you don't have firewood. What you would mostly use it for is for smelting or smithing, things that require a hotter source of heat than merely burning wood. Like, you couldn't smith a sword with just firewood. You would need something that burns hotter, and that's what charcoal is for. And also, it gave me a bunch of firewood, which was good because I was thinking about gathering firewood anyway. Ah, okay, good. Kai has earned his class change. So I can choose between Ranger or Gardener. I feel like they're both going to have Ranger as a choice. But, you know, I'm going to give it to Kai. Give it to Caius. Um, and I've been doing a lot of fishing, so I think I'm going to give him tracking just for the hunting thing. Actually, no, I'm going to give him Wild Home. That's a fun one. Okay. 2 bread, 2 fish. Yeah, that's alright. Ah, crepes. So I didn't comment on it because I was just rushing ahead here, but you'll notice that it's actually Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero is very nasty weather. It does have one side benefit, though. When you have Sub-Zero, you have to spend double the wood for heat. This is also true in a blizzard, so that means that every character would consume 4 rather than 3. And because 2 of these people had heavy furs, it meant that they actually consumed 3 rather than 4. So I had to come up with what? It was 6, 10 wood, which is why I had 22, and now I'm down to 12. So it was a really good thing that I actually found that recent fire. Parsnips are holding steady. By the way, you'll notice during winter, rather than the little water drops coming off, there's just this sort of frosty effect. That just means that, like, it's winter time, you can't water it, it's not relevant. And it would also remind you, if it was not a frost-resistant crop, that it was getting pwned. But the parsnips are just fine. Alright, so basically, I just need to kind of position myself for this next year. I don't really have anything good to craft right now. I have the bakery, so I'm just going to try to get in a position to get that smoking hut so I can show you a little bit more about processing. First, I'll have Caius try to grab a little bit of food. Or a lot of food. Sweet. And then I'm just going to have him... Although actually the timber axe helps with this. I'll have Lydia ditch it. Give it to Caius. And he'll go gather some reed. There's 3 there. 6 there. I'm not going to have him overwork. It's pretty cold. I needed timber and stone. Let me remember what I need for this thing. I need 2 more timber, 4 more reed, and I need any stone. Okay, and she still has that rock hammer, so this should be pretty trivial. Assuming I can, all right. Gather stone. That's 4 there. Alright, that's what I need in that regard. And I guess, I really don't know what Lydia's other leveling choice is, but in the off chance that I can make her into a magic person. Oh, she couldn't find anything there. How about there? There we go. And Sarissa... Let's just get some more firewood. Hope it's not Sub-Zero again. I don't think I would have quite enough. Ah, okay, yeah, so as I thought, it was Ranger and Gardener, and because I already made Caius a Ranger, I'll make her a Gardener. Let's do Speed Reaper. Oh yeah, see, I am actually 1 short. Which means actually that everybody has a very, very small chance of getting frostbite. But yeah, well, no big deal. Okay, so we're just finishing up this year here. I've got everything I need. I would like to probably get my whole wood supply. Ugh. Chop timber. Chop timber. Wow, this is extremely effective. Alright. I'm just going to have Lydia use her agriculture action to chop up a little extra wood. Right, oh no, I need more reed. I'm going to pass that over to Lydia. Still short. Alright, I think I have everything I need for the smoking hut. So, go to Abandoned Shed, add Studio. You can see I can actually build a bunch of different ones, but I have no use for the tannery or spinnery right now. So Smoking Hut. Right now you'll notice if I go to use Studio, there's another choice, Smoke Fish. There was a display that explained, that showed you the ratio and stuff, and I mean it really does need to be here. I got to get it back in. But the whole secret of mana menu style is like a new thing that I put in recently, and it has some other implications that I haven't totally coded out yet. But I think it's basically 3 fish and 3 wood for 3 smoked fish. I'll get some to show you. But yeah, so from now on I have this ability to smoke fish in my villa, and smoked fish, you lose 1 nutrition point, but it keeps indefinitely, so very handy. Needless to say. And I guess there's really nothing. Oh no, here's what I'll do. I didn't mention the accessories. There's a couple of basic accessories. If you take the Tailor ability with the Rancher, they can create a couple of really fancy accessories, although they require pretty high-grade materials that will take you a while to get your hands on. But if you've already given people reed cloaks and you want to increase their resistance, you can even craft reed hat accessories for them. And that will give them even more resistance. And then the walking stick is really simple. You just take a pole and sort of carve it up a little bit more and add some stuff. And the walking stick, basically, it increases your chance of getting a critical on a survey, which saves you time. It refunds you 1 action. And then later on it would help you with patrolling on the main map, which you cannot do right now. Okay, the path of history shifts ever so slightly. You survived another year. Well done. Take stock for a moment. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there goes almost all of my wheat and almost all of my money. And Sarissa got sick to start the year. Plus, I only have beans to eat. Oof. Coming out of this one with some difficulty with some ginseng. Okay. So I just wanted to show you the whole smoking situation before I wrap it up here. I know we're getting on in time, and I'm sure you're anxious to go try all this crap out. So, that's the parsnips. Water those. And now Caius, who has the spear, will attempt to procure us enough fish for some smoking. Although, once again, I seem to not be able to drag him properly. 1 fish. Insufficient. 2 fish. Also insufficient. Man, he's not doing too good. 5 fish. There we go. Okay, so let's use Sarissa for this. You'll see here I have 12 firewood, 5 fish. Yeah, so it's 3 firewood and 3 fish to get 3 smoked fish. You can see here it's worth only 5 nutrition, but it does keep forever. So that is a really, really handy thing to have, especially if you're relying on fish, because you can do the sort of thing where, you spend 1 turn just utterly fishing out all of the lakes that have been teeming, and you've let totally regenerate, grab huge amounts of fish, smoke a lot of it, and then you just eat that fish while the lakes recover. It's a really handy food management strategy. And later on, you'll be able to upgrade the smoking hut to like a smokehouse, and then you can also smoke meats and so on. So food preservation is key to being able to free up your time and allow you to manage your resources properly. Because when you get desperate, that's when you really start overfishing stuff. And if you really fish stuff down, it takes a long time to recover. Yeah, so we're getting on to almost an hour here, and thank you all for sticking with me. I covered pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. The 3 main buildings here. I showed you the bakery. I showed you how the factorium can be used to add actions in the villa. I've shown you a lot of the different stuff that you can craft. And it's all self-explanatory. All of the requirements are written. Sorry about this junk text over here, by the way. There's just a few more concepts that I haven't really quite completely put in on these, but I'm going to get rid of that junk text. It was to track. I had a previous conception of the game where the projects would be these things that you would have to spend multiple turns completing. Like you'd put in 2 turns, but it would take like 6 turns total, and you'd have to like track the project's process over a few turns. But I think actually it's more elegant to require actions all at the same time by the same person, and then also in that context having artisans be able to get more done than other people makes them even more valuable. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this Let's Play of some of the other mechanics of FreeHolder. There's still quite a bit to it. Like I haven't talked about raising animals or anything like that yet, and even a lot of the different things about the reagents that you can find. But you'll probably have some fun finding this stuff out for yourself, and keep an eye out for glitches. There are many. You even saw a few while I was playing through here, such as the curse of being the sole coder. All right, so thanks very much, everybody, and until the next Let's Play, live carefully and game recklessly.